How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I'm going to be ranking all 30 Team Affinity cards, and just want to mention that all of these cards are pretty good, at least to start your team off early on in the year. You might have these cards ranked a little bit differently, but I think some of these cards at the back end are still pretty good, but they might be lacking in one tier. Like, for example, that Roy Halladay just doesn't really have the hits and K per 9 that I'm looking for. This Ian Kinsler has really low fielding. Cal Ripken Jr. is a pretty good all-around card. He's not really missing anything but power against lefties, kind of reverse splits there. Jim Catt is a player I don't really know too much about, but he's kind of a soft lefty. And sometimes these guys can be very usable and very viable against certain players, but I just wouldn't want to build my team around that guy as my ace. But Matt Holliday at number 26, never really hit that well personally with Matt Holliday cards, but he still is a really solid hitter. I mean, really good all-around defender, decent card. Maybe a DH. This Joe Musgrove card has a pretty good pitch repertoire. You know, sweeper, a couple curveballs there, some cutters. Clay Buchholz also has a sinker cutter combination. Just kind of low K per 9, but he does have really good pitching clutch, so that will certainly help. Preston Wilson, this card kind of lacking in contact versus lefties, also doesn't really have the best clutch. But a decent leadoff hitter, maybe all-around silver, defender, silver speed. If you parallel him up a little bit, he might be all right. Andrew McCutchen, I think, is just a little bit better all-around hitter, but lacking in the defense and also speed category. Tom Glavine at number 21. I think this card's somewhat pretty good. One of those soft lefties once again, but just has better control, better individual pitch control and break, I would say. Johnny Bench is an all-around average card. There's a lot of good catchers in the game. I have this card at number 20, have another catcher ranked a little bit higher, James Wood at number 19. Just a pretty solid card, just not really someone I would want to put in the outfield. 50 reaction out there, but pretty good speed to kind of make up for it. Max Muncy at number 18. Low contact versus lefties, but really good power. Also low clutch, so maybe more of a guy that you want leading off your inning or something like that. But George Brett, I think, is a really good all-around contact hitter. This card, to me, I would probably hit better with some of these cards ranked maybe even a little bit higher. But I think for the average player, you want a little bit of power. You want a good combination. This Craig Biggio provides a good amount of speed at the catcher position. I would hit a little bit better with the Craig Biggio card over Johnny Bench. Just personally like the swing a little bit more. Frank Thomas, number 15, I think this card could be ranked a little bit higher. I don't really hit that well with one-handed swings from the right side, especially some of these tall hitters like Richie Sexson. And I would also say Frank Thomas is pretty tall as well at 6'5". Some of those taller hitters have a bigger strike zone. But at number 13, we have Andrew Miller. I think this card's pretty similar to the Billy Wagner, almost reverse splits, hits and K per 9 is kind of what I'm talking about there, but also really good pitching clutch. Todd Helton, to me, has a really good swing. He doesn't have the same, power as Frank Thomas or someone else earlier on, but I think he has really good contact, really balanced card. Alfonso Soriano at number 11. This card doesn't really have the best swing, at least for me personally, but he is more of a well-rounded card. Lower contact versus left, but pretty well balanced. Jim Edmonds also doesn't really have the highest contact versus lefties, but 54 speed will be okay with that defense. 85 reactions, pretty good. If you parallel that card up, he'll have diamond defense in center field. Jackson Jobe, I think, is one of the better starting pitchers on this list. Does have a pretty good pitch mix there. A fastball, cutter, changeup, sweeper. I think those are pretty good pitches. Bobby Grich, I'm not really sure what this card has for a swing, but he does have pretty good attributes. Well-rounded card, legend from the Angels. Then we have Kyle Schwarber, who I think kind of speaks for himself. Everybody loves Kyle Schwarber in MLB The Show. I wish this card had a catcher secondary position. If he did, I think he'd be ranked in the top 3. But that's just a little bit personal preference there. John Franco at number 6. I think this card's one of the better relievers. I kind of valued pitching, or at least closing pitching, relief pitching a little bit more in this program, or at least to start the year with Team Affinities. We don't really have a ton of closing pitching options, or at least guys that have a good pitch mix, guys with good hits and K per 9. There are some guys in the live series player collection there, but At the same time, they don't always have the best walks per nine, the best control. Yes, some of them do have some pretty good quirks, but I think, having Raleigh Fingers as the highest rated relief pitcher with that stamina is pretty. I also like this Hank Thompson card. I liked this card in last year's game. He did have a couple different versions. This Junior Caminero card is really solid. I have him at number 2. Not the best defender, but he does have a couple different secondary positions. And not that many Live Series cards or other cards in the game have that many secondary positions. I got to go with Babe Ruth at number 1. He does play some of those other positions as well. First base, corner outfield positions, put him at DH. He is pretty solid. And I built up my team pretty good early on in the year with these pre-order diamond cards. Recommended this in my last couple videos. And then, bought a bunch of them, sold a bunch. And then this is kind of the team I've built on day one. 83 overall team. I'm still kind of rounding out that bullpen. And that's kind of what I rank some of these cards a little bit higher. I'm definitely going after some of those bullpen arms. I think everybody's going to. You're going to see a lot of those Team Affinity diamond relievers, especially because, well, pitching, I think, is really important early on in the year. But that's going to do it for this video. I'm College Lefty, and until next time, peace out.